morning power up call, which is not being held in the morning. That's okay because the content's the same, the idea is the same. We are still gathering together as tens of thousands of students from the real world, tens of thousands of young men on their way up, on their way to greater personal power. We are joining together our minds on the same direction, focusing on things that will give us greater power, greater insight. I am going to be sharing thoughts and ideas that will propel you faster towards that success that you want. Right now you're at a stage in your life where you are awakening, where you're pushing forward, where you're building your own personal abilities. I'm going to be sharing things that will help you get there faster and more enjoyably and avoid some of the mistakes and hardship that I have experienced in my life. It's a good day. Got my mug of power here. I'll let you imagine what's inside of it. Let's talk today about an important idea. I talked about the title for this is how to terminate your inner quitter, or the quitter inside of you. Now, before I dive in, I'm going to 100% check the audio is working. It looks like we haven't had any complaints about the audio not working. The audio is working. All right, let's dive in. Now, again, the title of this video is Terminate Your Inner Quitter. Now, human beings are interesting. We are not a single self. We are not a little unified, little perfectly operating thing that's all one little. It's not like it's a perfectly. Our minds are divided, right? Human beings, there are different aspects to our identity. There's different parts of our brain. There's different forces that act on us, and they don't always act in unison with each other, right? It takes time and training to develop that. All of us are born with a part of our brain that innately wants to quit, that innately, when it comes across difficulty, tries to bounce, tries to leave that difficult moment and move towards something that will be easier, something that will not hurt as bad, something that will not be as hard, because that part of us, that quitter part of us, is lazy. And I'm going to teach you how to destroy that person, how to completely remove that from your mind so where it's not a problem anymore, right? The thing is, you can remove that side of yourself. You can at least control it. You can overcome it. You can feed the other parts of yourself and give yourself greater strength. And a lot of it has to do with where you put your attention. A lot of it has to do with what your fundamental beliefs are. But another part of it is how you structure your life. Before I have a story I'm going to tell you, a story from history that will show you how to overcome this tendency to quit, how to get the power that comes when you remove that as an option in your life. Because it does. That's one of the major, that tendency to quit, that tendency to run away, to give up. That is probably, for most people, it's constantly running in the back of their mind. It's like they're driving with the emergency brake on, right? It's going to massively limit how fast they can go. If you take the emergency brake off, you can go at full speed. And I'm going to show you guys how to remove that emergency brake, how to remove that tendency to quit from inside of your mind so that you don't have that extra resistance and you can move forward faster and achieve greater things in your life. But first, let me tell you why this is important. The road to wealth is extremely difficult. The world wants you to think that it's easy to make money. A lot of you are looking for ways you can go out and make money in the world that don't require any serious effort. You want to put in a little bit of time and energy and make lots of money. Crypto made a lot of people think you could do this easily. That time's over. If you want to get rich, you have to work your tail end off. You have to put in a significant amount of effort and energy to get that massive reward on the other end. Now, as you go through, there are going to be lots of opportunities for you to quit. That first money is the hardest. There's a lot of obstacles you have to overcome before you make that first money. And a lot of people, when they run into 3 or 4, maybe the 5th obstacle, they say, this is too hard. I'm going to go find something else that's easy and I can make money. The funny thing is, no matter what path you take, even within the real world, no matter which skill you choose, making that first money is going to be difficult. It's going to take a lot of time and energy to do. You're going to have to overcome a lot of stuff. So quitting one to go to another is foolish, but there's more at play here. That tendency to quit, that ability to quit, is something that we used to mock in young men. If a man quit, he was shunned. He was teased mercilessly. And I will not just tease, he was bullied mercilessly for being a quitter, because that person would be a liability to other people. And honestly, that shame around quitting existed for such a long time, and it helped society move forward, help men be their best self, because they knew that if they did quit, there would be negative consequences. Not only would they miss out on the positive, whatever they were quitting, but they would receive negative consequences from the people that they were surrounded by. If you want to be successful at copywriting, you're going to have to go through a million battles. You're going to have to learn how human beings work. You have to learn how persuasion works. You have to learn how businesses are structured. You have to learn how to write this way, how to approach this person, how to run the sales call, how to influence this person, how to set up the deal this way, how to structure risk, how to collect payment, how to test different options, how to find the winning solution. There are a million battles you have to fight between starting this campus and making your money. And I teach you how to fight every single one, and I'll help you fight every single one. But there's a million battles. And if the ability or the option of quitting is in the back of your mind at any point in this, you will lose. If you had to face an opponent, right? It was you versus another man inside of a room, and he couldn't quit. If he quit, he died. But you could quit, right? And you were thrown into a room and you had to fight to the death, right? If you know for a fact he's going to try and fight harder than you will, and he'll probably defeat you. In life, it's the same way. You become your most competitive self if you know you cannot quit. There is no way out. The only way out is through. That is the mindset you need to have. And I'm going to tell you a story from history that will help you grasp this principle and will help you understand the feeling you need to establish if you want a major competitive advantage here. Way back when, almost about 500 years ago, almost 500 years ago exactly, a little over 500 years ago, there was a guy named Hernan Cortez, and he took 500 men and he landed on the shores of Mexico near Veracruz, I think, if I remember correctly. And he and his 500 men had set out on the daunting task to conquer the Aztec nation, the Aztec Empire, which was a significant military force at the time. The Spanish had some muskets. They had they had a cannon, I think. But they were facing tens of thousands of soldiers who had, still had advanced. They had weapons. They had good battle tactics. They were facing a very formidable foe. There's 500 of them versus 10,000 or more of the enemy. So they landed, and Hernan Cortez's first order was so terribly alarming, he almost had a mutiny on his hands until he explained what it was. He told his men to turn around and burn the ships they had sailed to the coast in. And they're like, what? And he had them do it. They burned their ships. And they stood there and they watched in the ocean as their ships burned and sank. And then he had them turn around and march towards Mexico City now, the giant city, the Aztec city. And of course they fought and they won. But a big part of this was they knew there was no easy out. There was no escape. There was no quitting. They either conquered or they died, right? A man backed into a corner like that isn't going to fight 10 times harder than the man who thinks he has an out. The Art of War talks about this a lot. And I apply this principle a million different ways as a copywriter, but it talks about the idea of never surround an enemy completely. Whenever you surround someone, don't surround it completely. Always leave them an out or the illusion of an out. Because a man who is completely surrounded, who knows he is dead, is going to fight more desperately than the man who thinks he has a way to escape. And it's true. You can use this principle and flip it for yourself. You can burn the boats. You can remove any other option and just decide, I am 100% going to work on this until I'm successful. I will either work at this until I'm successful or I will die. Those are the two options. When you make that level of commitment, the universe shifts for you just a little bit. And you all of a sudden now have the opportunity and the ability to push through and win, where someone who has the idea of quitting floating around the back of their head, like you can defeat them. You have more power than they do. You are fighting for your life because it is either die or succeed. When you make it binary like that, you get power. You gain power in the situation. You become more competitive. There's a lot of people ask about is copywriting so saturated? There's so many people doing it out there in the world. Yeah, sure. However, if you are fully committed like that and you use your creativity, use the things I teach in this program, you will dominate inside of this space. The more people there are, the easier it is for you to win because more people come on, man. You can defeat them if you're committed, right? So I encourage you guys all to do this. If you're looking at different skills inside of HU, I want you to pick one and commit to it. It doesn't necessarily have to be mine. It might be freelancing. It might be the marketing bootcamp. It might be e-com. I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter to me. If you leave this program and go to one of the other programs inside of the real world, I don't care. But I want you to commit. I want you to burn the boats. I want you to give yourself no other option but to be successful at this thing. I promise you that if you do, you will be 10 times more successful than if you just kind of go through it with different options, with a plan B. I will always help a student who comes to me who is fully committed. I will always help a student. No matter what your problem, I will help you, right? If you are committed, I am going to be right there beside you in the trenches helping you be successful. If you're not committed, my tendency or desire to help you goes down significantly. So I want you guys to think about ways that you can make this your only option. I want you to conceptually burn your boats. I want you to make this your one path forward, your one way out. Because if it's your one way out, you'll attack it with the right kind of fervor that you need to do the hard work, to win those thousands of battles you have to win, and actually make money as a copywriter. Once you make your first money, then the rest of the money is really easy to make. And then you can stack on top of it. You can scale out and create an agency. You can own businesses. The world's your oyster after you make that first money. But you're only going to do that if you are 1,000% committed to fighting every single daily battle on the way. You can remove that quitter if you remove the option of quitting. If quitting is not an option anymore for you, then you will win. That's why Hernan Cortez burned the ships, right? And they went on to conquer. They conquered Mexico, right? Stole all the gold. It was terrible, terrible stuff. Committed genocide. It was a horrible thing, but he won. He was successful because he cut off every other option for himself. You need to do the same. Some of you have, family obligations. Some of you are still in school and stuff like that. Sure. Like, make sure you don't, don't go completely crazy and lock yourself in a basement and shave your head and just turn into a weirdo. Like, you can still live a life and make sure you're fulfilling your familial responsibilities, but burn your boats. Burn the things that aren't helping you, right? Part of this might be removing distractions, like deleting certain social media platforms off of your phone. I'm sure if you're using it to DM people, maybe that's one thing. But if you find yourself scrolling and dumping your time and energy, if you have a place you can escape from the battle to and go to a nice little soft, comfortable place on your phone, delete it. If your phone is that, put it in another room while you work on your laptop. Burn your boats. Remove completely. Slice away, decide, slice away. Decide means to cut off. Cut off things in your life that are distractions, that are comfort, that are not the battle. Make your life about pushing forward and fighting this one thing, because this is your one way out. If you do so, you won't have quitting as an option, and you will defeat your competition. If you choose to live in a life where quitting is a possibility, you won't be nearly as successful as a man who is 100% dedicated to success. It is this or die. Succeed or die. The man who lives like that will defeat any man who is just kind of half doing it. So think about this today. I want you to think about ways that you can fully commit yourself to a higher level, that you can burn your boat so you can be successful. You can remove that inner quitter. This is going to be extremely important for you moving forward. Again, if you're in the copywriting campus and you decide the copywriting campus is the best for you, dive in and exclude all other options. If you think that it's freelancing or marketing, go for it. I don't care. But you can cut me off and just dive into that course. I don't care. But I want you to fully and entirely dive into the best skill here and make it your one way out and cut off all other options. That's how you'll be successful. My friends, it's been a good call. I'm going to check the chats really quick because we've got some stuff. Cool. We're all good? We're all good. All right, guys, we're going to dive in. We've got the rest of the day with a lot of things to cover. I've got some more content to give you guys. I've got some more answers to give you guys inside of the chats. We'll keep this thing going, and I will talk with you guys again tomorrow. It's been a good call. Use it wisely.